a very warm welcome to the introduction to the Master Middle Eastern Studies at Leiden University. My name is Gabrielle van den Berg. I am the program chair of the Master Middle Eastern Studies, and also I hold the chair of the cultural history of Iran and Central Asia. And besides me is Dr. Anders Eli van Duinen, who is the coordinator of studies, and who is, we together will present this introduction to our Master Middle Eastern Studies. And you're very welcome at the end of this presentation to ask any question you'd like to ask. So first of all, why would you be interested in studying Middle Eastern Studies at Leiden University? Well, this program, the Middle Eastern Studies program at Leiden University, offers one of the most interdisciplinary programs in the Netherlands, stretching the breadth of humanities and social sciences. And our research and teaching covers periods from the medieval period up to the contemporary period, and it has a regional diversity, which I think is unique for the Netherlands. So the staff who teaches in this program, they are specialists from the region North Africa into India and Central Asia, covering the entire Middle East and West Asia, including Central Asia and the Levant. So we have many courses and we offer a huge diversity. And I'd like to tell you a little bit more about this. So first of all, if you choose for Middle Eastern Studies, well, the deadlines are here on the slide, so 15th of May for EU students and 1st of April for non-EU students. But that's the kind of information you'll be, which will not be very difficult to find. Here's just in brief what you need to apply, and I'm not going to describe this. You can have a look at it yourself later on, but English is important. The language of our MA is English. The thesis you write in English too. So who are we? I'm definitely not on my own, and this is not even the full staff. You see here on the slides, I'm not going to mention them all, but you see, for example, in one of the corners, you see Dr. Hans Teunissen, who is a specialist in Ottoman history. We see Alp Yenen, who deals with modern-day Turkey. Deniz Stad, who teaches Turkish. Now, for some reason, I choose all the people who do Turkish, but that's not the only thing we do. We do Arabic as well. So Professor Petra Sijpenstein is the chair of the Arabic track in the bachelor, and Arabic is one of the major languages we teach in our program, apart from Persian, Turkish, and Hebrew. We also very much focus on the modern Middle East, and I just mentioned a few of the staff members here: Christian Henderson, Crystal Ennis, and Sai Englert, Solina Albantian. They are all colleagues who focus on the more modern Middle East. So we offer a variety of courses in both modern and let's say from medieval to early modern Middle East, in regions that cover indeed Middle East itself, so what we call the Middle East, because the area which is normally known as the Middle East, it's a bit of a vague term, and that's actually something you're going to discuss in one of the first of your classes, and that class I'll come back to in a moment. But North Africa is definitely also an important region, and apart from North Africa, let's say the Arabian world, Turkish world, also the Persian world, and Central Asia. So the master consists of 60 EC, so 60 European credits, as it is. That's the abbreviation. And in the first semester, you have to do half of them, and you have 3 courses you follow. One of them is an obligatory course, and that's Theories and Methods of Middle Eastern Studies. And it's in that course that you become acquainted with the approaches and angles which are useful in the study of the Middle East in its entire breadth. So it's a course that's shared by all. The teachers who do this course are specialists from both, let's say, the pre-modern Middle East and the modern Middle East, specialists in different fields. So you get to know very quickly what and how you can study the Middle East, and it's very much an interactive course. Apart from that, there's 20 EC reserved for elective courses, and I'll show you just an example of or sample list of courses we have on offer throughout the semesters. Because also in the second semester you choose an elective course, 10 EC, but the rest of your time is devoted to your MA thesis. And the MA thesis, as you can gather from the number of ECs, is quite an important part of the program. And our one of the, I think, success stories of our program, and that's something which was initiated by my predecessor, is the designation of a so-called thesis path, which helps you as a student to successfully complete your MA in 1 year. So there's a lot of guidance in writing your MA thesis and a lot of structure. So that's what we have on offer. But first, before I go into that thesis path and say something more about this roadmap, I'd like to just show you. I'm not going to discuss, definitely not all of them, and if you like, of course, I can come back to any of them in the Q&A, but this is just a list of courses of this year, and probably most of them will also be taught in the coming academic year. So
maybe we should mention that one of the elective courses can also be language on beginner's level.
I will come back to that in the next slide. So that's yes. So these are the so-called what we call usually content courses. Yes. And yeah, as you can see, they are very there's actually quite a number of them, but also very there's a lot of diversity in them. So they go from let's say literature to political economy to political ecology, the course oil, waste, and water. But also, for example, study of narratives in soap series, which is done, for example, in the course Narratives That Matter. Also, urban studies is a course which is entitled In the Time of Cities, Space, Place, and Politics in the Urban Middle East. If you are interested in focusing on, let's say, Central Asia, we have material culture, memory, and commemoration along the Silk Roads in Central Asia. We do have international relation courses, but we also have courses about history and literature. I already mentioned that. And if you know a language, then we have some courses. For example, Themes in Arabic Literature is a course which uses Arabic source materials. But if you do not have Arabic, you can still follow most of these courses by making use of translations. And as Eli already indicated, indeed, we do have on offer, and that's, I think, a unique, unique item, even a unique kind of characteristic of our program, is that you are allowed to actually spend 10 EC of your program, which in total is 60 EC. You can spend 10 EC on learning a new language. Or if you already know a language, doing something more on a certain language. And then I refer in particular to Ottoman Turkish and Classical Persian, which actually you need some introduction to either Turkish or Persian in order to follow either Ottoman Turkish or Classical Persian. But otherwise, what is on offer is if you are a beginner in a language, you can do Modern Standard Arabic 1 and 2, which together are 10 EC, or you can follow Beginner's Hebrew, Beginner's Turkish, or Persian Language and Culture 1. So which this basically enables you to start with working on, let's say, primary sources in the languages. With both of these, or not both of these, all the 4 of these languages are, I would say, well, the most important languages of that region. Of course, the region is huge. I'm sorry, I don't I haven't had a chance to put up a map here, but if you open any map of the Middle East, you can see the variety of states, and also there's many maps that show you the richness of the linguistic culture as well. But these languages are the languages we have standard languages on offer, and most of our staff members are competent or native in one or more of these languages. So I would like to sort of briefly, and this is something you can perhaps better look at on your own, because as you can see, it's very small letters, etc. But this shows you the roadmap of Middle East studies, and it's meant indeed to be a kind of guide to graduation in 1 year. The idea is that it is indeed possible to graduate in 1 year if you just follow the roadmap. So it's meant to make it easier for you. You start in September. There's a certain elements you have to sort of achieve. One of them is this already mentioned course of theories and methods. And in this course, you work towards writing a research proposal, which you have to submit, or a research proposal, rather. You think of a research topic for your MA thesis, and that you're going to submit by the 1st of October. And after the 1st of October, you'll then be assigned a supervisor. You will become acquainted with your thesis supervisor and then move on with your courses, because you will only start to write your thesis in February. And from that moment onwards, you will have a quite intensive guidance and supervision to write your thesis, all the while following courses as well. And then in May, basically, you hand in the final draft of your thesis, and mid-June, you should be done, which leaves you some time for the summer as well. Of course, it's also possible to take more than 1 year to do your MA Middle Eastern Studies, so then this roadmap will just simply be extended. So that is all possible. Right, so here's the thesis path. So this is the, let's say, the roadmap, but then focused on the thesis alone. So 1st of October, as I said, you basically have already an idea of what you would like to do research on for your thesis, and then you sort of gradually move towards the 15th of June, which is the final deadline of your thesis. Is there anything I need to add here? I just ask my colleague.
Oh, maybe just say that, so you can either write in the spring or in the fall. So that's good to know.
That's indeed a good point, yes, because we start, our program has one entry date, so to speak. I mean, we start in September, so we have a September incoming students, but that doesn't mean that you cannot write your thesis, let's say not in the spring, but in the fall. That's all possible, but then you take a bit longer to finish your MA Middle Eastern Studies. So that's quite free. There's also some options to work on your thesis when you are abroad. I mean, we have students who go, for example, to the institute in Cairo or to the institute in Istanbul. So these are all possibilities, and if there's a chance, I'd be happy to talk about that further. Here again, the thesis supervision and how it's organized. You saw that we have many staff members. Most of them, are indeed experts in a certain region, in a certain time period, or a certain language. But indeed we try to accommodate, let's say, every thesis topic in the best way possible. So the thesis allocation is in hands of the program, but basically we choose the supervisor which fits your topic best. So that is that's our sort of policy regarding the thesis, and I stress this because I think one of the hurdles in many MA programs is in the end writing the thesis, and students may feel a little bit lost in that process. And I think by this roadmap we have more or less solved this. Right, and here you have even some more details on what you're expected to do for a thesis proposal. And you can have a look at that later, and I'll just move on. And here again, the thesis path. So if you follow the deadlines, you can finish your MA in 1 year. That said, you can also take longer.
Most students do it like that in 1 year.
Most students, yes, of course. Yes, definitely. Yes, definitely. Yeah. It's it is of course the only reason perhaps not to do so is if you have the opportunity, if you like to follow more courses, or if you want to do an internship. That's another option, because internships form an option in the framework of our program. They're basically extracurricular, but it is mostly done then at the end of let's say the courses, the period you follow courses. You can after that do an internship as well. Right, what makes Leiden University a wonderful place to study Middle Eastern studies? I already mentioned the diversity, the regional diversity, the breadth of the expertise, and time periods we deal with. But another important aspect, or very useful, and for at least for certainly also for all the researchers who work in our program, indispensable. Let's say organization, of course, is the Leiden University Library. And also, if you come here as a new student, then library will be one of your great friends, I would say, since there is it's a wonderful place to meet. But it has really many useful resources. And on top of that, also our subject librarian Sahar Al-Khaledi is very willing and helpful. So she will, if you need help with finding resources, databases, any information, she is most happy to provide that. So as you can see here, this is from the library page. This usually works really well. So we do have in our library resources varying from, let's say, newspapers of the Middle East, but also manuscripts from a very early date. So basically materials for your thesis, you have to look very far. Of course, you can also do something different, but the library would definitely be, in any case, has to form a part of this as well. Apart from that, we also offer a very lively platform which combines research not just from Middle Eastern studies, but from basically everyone who is interested or deals with the study of the Middle East and specifically also the study of Islam in society. And that platform is called the Leiden University Center for the Study of Islam and Society. So it's a university-wide network, basically, but it's housed within Middle Eastern studies, at least and it's this organization, so this center, organizes lectures, MOOCs, workshops, expert meetings. It organizes many different things, and also things like, for example, this weekend, if you happen to be in the Netherlands, you're very welcome to join many of the staff of Middle Eastern Studies at the LUCIS, so Leiden University Center for the Study of Islam and Society, that's the abbreviation. The LUCIS Middle Eastern Culture Market, which is held in the National Museum of Antiquities, the Rijksmuseum van Oudheden, in Leiden, very close to the university, very close to the Faculty of Humanities. And in that culture market, there will be all kinds of, let's say, workshops, writing, dancing, learning new things, but also lectures, for example, on the fall of the Ottoman Empire, lecture by our former professor Erik Jan Zürcher. So, and there's apart from that, recitals, market stalls where you can buy things. Anyway, that's just something I mentioned because it's this weekend, and it's something that you may, it's an example of what is organized by the Leiden University Center for the Study of Islam and Society. And also as a student, they every year hire student assistants. So that's also a possibility to sort of, in a different way, get to work with the Middle East. We also have a very lively students' association, which is called Sherazade. They organize tea afternoons, drinks, lectures, and it's specifically for students. And trips to the Middle East, so excursions to the Middle East every January. So that's definitely also something you may think about if you join our program. So if you need more information, here's the web link where you find really everything, I would say. I'd like to just ask...
Entry requirements.
Exactly.
Deadlines, etc.
Most of the things I just sort of briefly hinted at or can be found on the website. And if you have any questions regarding either courses, program, internships, please do not hesitate to approach either Elie van Duinen or me. That's all fine. And we would welcome questions from your side. So thank you for your attention.